Booyakasha. Welcome to Mad That with Harry and Carl. Shaba.
Hello and welcome to this Mad That Season 1 Q&A and wrap-up. I'm joined by the hosts of the Smash Hit podcast, Harry Robinson and Carl Riegler. How are you doing? How are you doing, fellas?
Hi, Finn. Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you for doing this.
Oh man, when Finn Cullervus calls, you come running.
You do. It's been a bit of a wild few weeks for you both.
Oh, it's been cool as fuck.
Yeah. You're kind of like, part of the mainstream now.
Yeah, we're mainstream guys now, part of the zeitgeist.
How did Mad That come about? I actually don't know.
It happened on the couch in the...
Oh,
we were just kissing and we were we should do some other thing. Basically, we're both from journalistic backgrounds. Harry definitely more so than me. Harry's, you're an actual journalist.
Yeah, and I've done kind of when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20, I kind of
21,
did
22.
23. I did kind of podcasts with over Zoom or whatever with like kind of cult members and stuff like that. That's my wheelhouse, I guess. But then haven't done it in ages.
And then I was just dead interested in it. We were chatting about it once. Like, I've interviewed Greg Cade, and I was like, oh, that's sick. I'd love to do that. And then in there, I just went, we should just start a podcast. Me and you, like, just do that kind. And then Harry was bang into it. And then the next day, the wheels were moving.
Yeah, it was surprising because we've had, you'll know, with kind of have word.
Those chats have been had multiple times. We should start a podcast, and then it just doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. But this time, you've actually gone through with it. I think I came in the next day with a list of potential guests of people I tried to reach out to. And then as the week went on, it was like we'd actually started building. Yeah. It all kind of happened very fast. And
we had a brand. The next day we had a name, we had a brand, you'd made all the logos. I got the wheels moving on the world's coolest sign, which is actually a rug backed onto cardboard, which is probably the coolest thing we own. And then after like a week, we were kind of like ready to go, weren't we? And
then we kept on one-upping kind of guests.
So basically, if you didn't know, Harry books all the guests. That's why the guests are amazing, because Harry's got the patience and the wherewithal to email them. So Harry will go, oh, I've got such and such. I've got Neil Woods. I've got Javier and Steve. I was like, fuck, this is so sick. Like, so cool. And then he went, I've got Shirley Phelps Roper. And I was like, fuck off. Like, my head fell off.
That was our goal. That was our like pipe dream gold standard when we had the talk, was like, imagine getting Shirley Phelps Roper.
You messaged me and said we got it, and I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, made up.
One of the interesting things you told me, because obviously a lot of people and anyone that I'm mates with that likes the pod or when we're out, they're like, how would you get these people? And you were like, you just ask them.
Such a simple answer.
The Shirley one, because we got told no. So I got in touch with the Westboro Baptist Church, asked them for the podcast, got a thing back that was basically like, a copied and pasted thing that they basically put to the media that's like, we don't do it. And I replied back and I was like, listen, just to explain, like, we're not trying to do a hit piece on Shirley. Even if it's not Shirley, we'd like someone else or whatever, but we're like, I'm not going to lie and say that we agree with your views, but we'd love to just have a conversation. And then Shirley got back and was like, oh yeah. And when we asked her on the episode, she was like, it was because you were polite and nice, which I think is quite nice, because you get told, especially in the kind of media industry, that you've got to be kind of cutthroat and like a bell end to like get ahead. And it's quite nice that we got that interview that a bell end wouldn't have got. Do you know what I mean? That someone who's a bit ruthless or whatever wouldn't have got, because we were polite.
We had Shirley, which was like...
You recorded that one first.
So originally, she was always going to be the first episode to go out, but we wanted to do it where... And I'm glad they ended up happening the way it did, but we wanted to do it where we'd record a couple running up to it, and then like...
Be ready for it.
Then record Shirley, make sure that was a bit more polished and have that as the starter. But then we had a
scheduling reason. She was number one.
Like behind the curtain or whatever, we had a North Korean person booked in who pulled out. We had Steve and Javier who ended up getting pushed way back down the line. So then we were jumping into the deep end a little bit. Yeah.
I was so nervous.
Oh yeah, and you could tell.
I was in that day, and I remember you being very nervous. Do you think that one? Would you like to do anything differently with that one if you could go again?
I like how raw if I could go back and fix it, like maybe us being a bit more ready for the start of it. But and Carl mentioned it during the little intro that we record or whatever after the fact, that there's like a solid 5 minutes there where we're just getting into our groove because we're shitting ourselves. But I like the fact that you go forward 4 or 5 episodes and we know what we're doing and we have a groove. And I like that you can see a real progress across the board.
Yeah.
So episode 1 goes out. The response is
so far beyond. We know what we made's good. We know we've got a good production company, have a way behind us. We've got this great setup. We know we've got great guests. We know we're both more than capable. But then it could still just fall on its arse. And then just the absolutely insane response of being like, okay, you've actually done a good thing here. This is incredible. This is sick. The views are going crazy. It was a bit like, okay, this is actually, pretty sick.
That was a mad first day. Because also, like, my personal goal is if we got like 5,000-6,000 views, like that's like if we put something out on Patreon or whatever as a little private thing, if it does like 6,000, that's like quite good. And it's on like 30.
Shirley's on 30k, which is relative numbers to have away. Another podcast that might not seem like a lot.
Yeah, but a podcast's first episode.
But a podcast's first episode with 2 relatively inexperienced podcasters for that genre.
Absolutely.
With a guest who would eat us alive in most circumstances. And people might think she did them, but I think we just gave her enough rope to hang herself with, personally. It was insane, and I was so happy. Obviously, what we do with Have a Word's great, and we love it. But to have something that me and Harry have started for people to love feels dead nice.
Yeah, it's the thing I'm most proud of. Yeah. The fact that because as much as we're, this is Have Word Studios or whatever, it was me and you, trying to put stuff.
This was only me and you.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
No, but I mean, nobody else could have helped, but it was me and you. This is all me and you. And this is all, by the way, this is 95% Harry, 5% me. And I know you're going to be humble and say it isn't, but it fucking is. And I'm fine to admit that.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I disagree.
How do you disagree?
Because
that's not what you've been saying privately, Harry.
The only thing I do, which is the benefit of what Adam and Dan did for years and Have a Word, is turn up and do the thing. Harry does all the clips, all the assets. Harry does everything that you see. The only thing I rarely do is say yes to a guest, which is always a yes because the boss, and turn up and talk.
But also, it doesn't work without the one thing especially it shows with the Shirley one, it's the questions that you ask that I would never think.
Which is the same for you. We've got totally different ways of going about it.
Yeah.
Your man's over there, man's over there. I try and ask the stupid lay question. You ask the question that digs in deep. I'm like, I would never ever went there.
I think the questions, like when you ask Shirley, like, what do you do for fun? Stuff like that catches people off guard because they're used to like reporter questions. If you're a journalist at the BBC and you go, what do you do for fun? That sounds like you haven't thought of a question, when really it's a really thought out, sincere, personal question that people don't, get asked. So.
Right, we're not here to kiss each other's asses. Come on. Right, we have got some. we've got some listener questions. I'm going to dip in and out of them and then ask some other stuff as well. So this first one is from NPJS31.
Oh, nice.
And they ask, I'm asking this mainly about Shirley, not that you'll get why. Have any of the views expressed this series changed your opinions at all?
I mean, Neil Woods.
Probably. Sorry, Carrie, I've got one too, but Neil Woods.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Woods' views is yours with
Harry and Steve.
Oh, so Neil Woods is one with his kind of belief on the legalization of drugs.
So, but I was always abolitionist anyway, so I kind of held his beliefs anyway.
Their views now that I kind of not that I believe entirely with everything, but that he's so articulate with it, and I kind of parroted it, and also maybe not changed my views, but Chris, the former KKK member, when he talks about free speech, was something that I found fascinating. He was basically like, people should be allowed to be hateful because then you can recognize where the speech is, where the hate is, and where to fix society
is, rather than people internalising it and then going underground and doing bad things, which
kind
of
sure
makes sense.
But I don't agree with it, but it's one I've thought about a lot, I think
with Javier and Steve as well, glorifying Pablo Escobar, realising why we should never do that. The guy was a terrorist who killed tens of thousands of people, decimated a country for how long? Decades?
Yeah. I mean, he was a terrorist.
He was a bad dude. People are like, "Oh, you look sick on the t-shirt, though." And then you realise, like, he does look sick on the t-shirt, to be fair.
Well,
but then you realise he was just a fucking bad guy.
Yeah, it's like having Osama bin Laden on your team.
Yeah, he was just a bad dude.
Well, that's one thing when, I mean, we're wearing Mad That merch. We should probably
We'll get to that.
Mad That merch is now available.
We'll get to it.
When we were designing like a Colombia one, and that was a big conversation that we had, was like, we can't
put Escobar in it.
We can't have Escobar anywhere near this because we talked
about how much we shouldn't be glorifying Pablo Escobar.
And then we can't just have Pablo Escobar on a t-shirt being like,
Yeah. So, do you know what? Actually, good question. From quite a few of the episodes, we have actually opened our minds a little bit.
We're not now homophobic now.
No.
Okay, thank you. We've got another one. This is from Tom Allen, and he said, was it surprising how normal some of the guests were compared to preconceptions you may have had of them?
I mean, Shirley was batshit mental, but when she became
so normal though.
When she was a grandma, when you could pull it back and she was smiling and laughing about listening to Barbra Streisand and stuff like that, that was so. I remember watching it and seeing her laugh and kind of just reminiscing about like having her grandkids grow up. And if you strip back all the kind of political and religious and homophobic stuff that she said, that is just a sweet old woman. That
she was a lovely. The thing is, as a human to interact with, she is lovely and normal. Like if you sat down and went, let's not talk about what you believe in, and let's just talk about. I mean, obviously she's always going to come back to it. Let's just talk about the weather or whatever. She's actually dead nice, but then when she speaks about what she thinks, the views are abhorrent, and we can't agree with them.
But that was one especially that was like that really blew me away because was the only person I think we spoke to. Well, like I guess Mark Sargent, who was an active conspiracy theorist, she was actively
still doing the thing
that we had her on for. She was actively hate preaching.
Yeah.
So for us to have a bit of a laugh with her was strange, but also I think that's a testament to the journalism a little bit because you don't. Again, if you want to watch just us shout at like a horrible old woman,
you can find 10 of them on YouTube.
Yeah. So
we didn't want to do that. Weirdly, what's the first 4 episodes? Shirley,
Greg, then Mark,
Greg,
and then Chris Buckley.
Chris. I'd seen loads of these people on telly before. I love murder rap. I love Louis Theroux stuff. What was the other one?
Over the Beyond the Curve. You've seen
Beyond the Curve. Mark Sargent. I love the documentary. So it was weird to be like, oh, I've watched your shit loads, and you're just a person, just a normal guy.
It's the same with everyone we've ever had in for Have a Word, isn't it? You can be a bit overawed by seeing them before, but as soon as everyone's just a.
I don't think there's anybody who I've gone the other way with. Not even for Have a Word, I don't think.
No, there's a few people where you're like, oh, they've got like loads of charisma or they've got whatever it is, but everyone's just a person.
There's nobody you can just sit down and just have a chat with. Everyone in this world's pretty.
Yeah, there's some sort of.
So we're gonna skip forward to maybe someone that wasn't very normal in your season finale of Joe Exotic, and I remember
I'd love to find the messages when you first.
Yeah, you'll be
told me.
Well, it was delayed, wasn't it? You initially had a date set with him, and there was some sort of incident where he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I remember you being very stressed in here, kind of pacing about. So before you tell us how that came about, would you like to talk about the stresses around getting Joe Exotic?
So we had him penciled in for a day.
But you're saying you're brushing over the fact that we even got him penciled in.
Okay, yeah. Well, that was
how stupid it is that we got like when I said one of us said let's get Joe Exotic. It was like let's get
a pipe dream. Yeah,
it's like let's get this guy in the podcast, of course. Yeah, and then you messaged me and said I think it's happening. I remember I was in bed and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, and then in the run up to it felt very surreal. And then we had it booked in, but it was like, for like full context, we were messaging like his Instagram account, but we thought we were speaking to like a press team.
We thought we were talking to his manager.
But I think we were speaking to him, sometimes speaking in the third person.
No, I think we were always speaking to him talking in the third person.
Yeah, which was because he's in like a kind of hospital prison. He's in a medical prison because of his cancer, and also because he's suing so many people because of Tiger King. I think he has little pockets where he can use a phone. I think he was also potentially, maybe not, might have smuggled the phone in.
I'm gonna say
because he keeps on sharing. He's collaborated with the clips.
Weirdly, I was in Joe Exotic's DMs today chatting with him. I was like, this is weird, isn't it?
But so the first day he was meant to say he was booked in for like 7 at night, 8 at night.
Oh no, it was later. It was about 10.
It was about 10.
Yeah, because me and Harry would often go for like little
Yeah, so we went for food.
Pep talks.
Yeah.
We get each other psyched up. What we're going to talk about, have a bit of food. And then we came back and we sat here and we were like, right, we're going to sit here an hour early. So if anything happens, we're ready. Everything's ready to go. So we're sat here for 55 minutes. I'm like, it's in 5 minutes. Fuck me. It's coursing through us.
Yeah.
Like more than ever before. 10 hits. Nothing. 10 past. Nothing. I'm like, what do we do here? Because we can't, you could call it 11 o'clock. And I think we gave him 2 hours.
Yeah, oh no, it hit about midnight. I remember driving home. I think I'd stayed at like Ellie's, my girlfriend's. Drove to hers.
Oh, we were so
just
flat.
like, because we'd given the whole, because we'd gone for tea, we'd got in early to set up.
You'll have that adrenaline building
up. We were so like, this is it.
It was about 8 hours of adrenaline.
Yeah.
To not do it. And then we do the next day. And again, he was about an hour late maybe. But what happens is, obviously he's in prison, he's got to find a pocket. There was a fight by the phones, which is what cut it off. But then obviously because there's a complete lockdown, he can't sneak a little phone message to go, it can't happen.
Yeah, so that one was cancelled because there was a prison riot. There's a fight.
Oh, we've got a notes page somewhere where we just started doodling maddest
it's
stuff.
Framed in there.
Yeah, I mean, because Carl changed all the research things to say Joe erotic. So,
yeah.
And we'd just gone insane, but we couldn't leave the roadcaster. It had to be recording for the call because we needed the little like it's coming in from the prison thing, and we were so ready for the phone call to happen.
It's so funny if you go back and watch the first 10 seconds of when Joe comes on. So after the intro, I'm just sat there like this, a bit flat, just writing, just pissed off. The phone goes. I'm like, right, it's Joe's agent saying it's not happening again because Joe Exotic's calling. And then you put it on loudspeaker and he goes, hello? I'm like, what?
Hey, it's Joe.
I'm like, oh, we all go, oh, Joe, hello, mate. Like we went from 0 to a fucking million.
And I think it helped because he kept on having to leave the phone call for like prison fights happening and him maybe resetting his minutes and stuff like that. And it helped to have those little breathers for us to catch up.
Do you think that maybe helped of not being that wired like you would have been the day before, of being a bit maybe overexcited?
Yeah, because we were able to, because if we were caught on the back foot for the first 15 minutes, we weren't for the next half an hour that we had with him. And also the fact that we got like 45, 50, like for full disclosure, we were meant to have 15 minutes with him and we were going to try and make it work. If we needed to interview someone who else was in Tiger King afterwards and stitch two things together, we were just going to cross that bridge when we came to it. And he ended up just like, he ended up going over the time that he'd gone over for. He was like, I'll give you half an hour. And in the end, he did like 50 minutes. And he went, boys, I've got to go. And I was like, we haven't got the soundbite yet. Because I knew we needed a soundbite for the trailer. Yeah.
So I went, Joe, can you just say this? I just want you to say, hello, it's Joe. Joe Exotic, welcome to the Mad That podcast. Go. Hello, it's Joe. And welcome. It cut up like, right, we haven't. I'm like, Joe, can you just say that again? He'd be like, yeah, okay, we go. Hello, it's Joe. It's Mad That podcast. And we're like, Joe, we know you've got to go, but we really need you to get this one line. He's like, yeah, one more time. And then he's nailed it. And we've always felt fucking, like the joy that we felt when he nailed it.
Because I think I snipped out the first two, because obviously it's just us asking him to try and beat the lag or whatever. Like I snipped out the first two of like attempts at it. So then when he actually hits it, we go like fully tense up and start high-fiving.
Yeah.
And then start like trying to speak formally to the phone because obviously he can't see us.
Because we've got that line nailed. And then there and then you went out and edited that. This is about 1 a.m. as well. So we're if you see our eyes, we're tired. You go out, you put that through audio to make it sound good. And then we had the little 3-second soundbite and we just sent it to you.
Sent it in the group chat.
Like we've done it. And like, that was the second to last recording, but that felt like
that was always what we were going to end the season on. We did the whole season chronologically, bar Neil had to push back. So we ended up then slot, because obviously you've got to end on Joe Exotic. But
Joe Exotic has raised the bar to where we can't do anything less than Joe Exotic next season. in
Not
terms
a
of like
single episode.
in terms of like a gem of the season.
Certainly to end
your
the
peak,
finale
yeah.
has to be.
So the bar has been raised. Don't worry, we're gonna jump over.
It has to, which also means that we're not gonna release a season 2 until we know we've got a gem to end it.
It'll be this year, maybe the end of this year, start of next year, but not until it is at very least on par with season 1. But we are gonna fucking smash season 1.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump ahead to that, and then we'll come back to some more questions. Yeah. What are the hopes for season 2? Is there anything you've kind of not? You don't have to give us any names, but is there anything you've kind of gone, oh, that worked, but maybe we could do this slightly differently?
We've got a big list of. I mean, like, there's a couple subjects that I'd love to touch on that we could maybe say that are a bit broader.
I think also in a general sense, the format of season 2 may change depending on the circumstance.
Yeah, if we get to go out and do...
So the goal of season 2 is, and please get in touch if you can help, we're looking for a sponsor for season 2. It will be Mad That, brought to you by whatever your brand is. And our plan is to go out to physically see these people who we're going to interview. So if it's a cult, we want to fly to the States and we want to Louis through it. We want to speak to these people in person and stay with them.
Which then would be, even if we can't get the Mad guest as a finale,
it will
Mad
be
That documentary would be the...
Half the season will be documentary, half of it will be the same as season 1. But we can't do that without some financial backing. So if you can help, if you know a sponsor who wants to get involved or you want to get involved, drop us an email. But the plan is to take Mad That on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're also doing... This is all... Obviously, we're in Have Words and we've got the kind of equipment of it, but we are self-sufficient. We're not
taking any money from Have a Word. Do you think we just use the cameras? That is all it is.
So, so that'd be... I mean, that's also the dream anyway. Like, that's... Yeah. So, that'd be good. In terms of guests-wise...
Maybe keep under our hat?
Absolutely. The one person that I would love at some point is Louis Theroux.
This is your chance. Give him a message.
Louis, please come on and talk to us. We're dead sound, aren't we?
We grew up watching your stuff. You've influenced us no end. Like, genuinely, you are this man's god.
It's the only person that him and Emerson Boyce, I'd cry for. And
you are above Emerson Boyce and me, though. So
yeah, you are above Emerson Boyce. I mean, mate, the only reason I name drop Louis Theroux is this is a very much a... if you're a fan of Mad That and you'd love to see Louis Theroux on, pepper him with messages because he's
in the nicest way. Let's tag him in things. Let's not message him personally.
Yeah, don't threaten.
Let's tag him.
Don't turn up at his house.
Don't turn up at his house.
Go to the Asda near his house and wait for him in the milk aisle.
But you're cool enough and nice enough that we know you are, that you would love to get involved with us. We're not idiots who are just messing around. We're making good shit, and just give us an hour of your time. It would mean the literal world.
Yeah,
to us.
I would weep.
Yeah. Okay, right. We've got another question from a listener. This is from Lou Craven. And they said, out of everyone you interviewed, who would be the best pint?
Ooh. That's a good question. I mean,
let's
go through them then.
What do you want from someone?
Let's rank them out of 10.
So Shirley, pint. I'm going to go with a flat 1.
Yeah, Shirley's bottom for pint wise. It's a lot.
She is an old lady for 1.
Yeah.
And she's got some bad views.
Yeah, I feel like when she gets drunk, they might come out more.
I don't even know if they drink as well. So I think that
should be black currants and soda and racism. No, at least be drunk first.
Yeah.
Episode 2 was...
Episode 2 is Greg Caden. Greg
belter pint.
Greg's up there.
I'm going to give him an 8.
Yeah. Greg, I mean, because he has stories as well. I'd maybe give him a 7 because there's a couple of people that we've got. Are we ranking it out of 8 because there's been 8 guests?
No, it's out of 10.
Out of 10. Yeah, 7.
Out of 2 because there's 2 of us.
I'd give him maybe a 7. I mean, Greg.
Someone else can get an 8. It's not like a blind ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but compared...
You know what's coming.
Yeah.
You know. Because you've done the episode, so you know who's coming
Greg
up.
also is interested in the shit I'm interested in, so it'd be good for chatting. He's an ex-busy, so he's got stories. The man loves a pint. He invited us over to the States to his house.
He is the sound. He was so...
And he's so cool and so sound. 8.
And then it was Mark Sargent. I'd only want to go to the pub with Mark Sargent if Greg Caden was there. Or someone. Do you know what I mean? There needs to be...
That's not a good pint then. If you need a wingman for a pint, they're not a good pint.
Yeah, he's. I think he's probably a 3. But, you know, if you're there with a group of people and he's off going like friggin' Bigfoot, you know, drives NASCARs and whatever, like that's interesting. Like,
no, a good pint is me and you go for a pint.
Yeah,
not
and
the group.
You don't have to make any effort either.
It's just you and you
chill.
just fucking get to chill and be like, oh, he's cool. Him. Mark Sargent.
He was a lovely man.
Not a good point.
Yeah.
Neil Woods after that?
No, Neil Woods was a bit late.
3 was.
So then it was Chris Buckley. Chris Buckley's a good. I'm not sure if he does he drink.
I'm gonna say he doesn't drink because the naughtiness will come out.
Yeah,
because I think the naughtiness still lives within Chris, and I think you'll see that in the episode.
Yeah, and he has like kind of addiction.
He has to work at the
like
naughtiness.
I think, and he says
it's a conscious decision.
Well,
yeah.
A day out at Alton Towers.
Yeah.
Chris is well up there.
6,
the sound, 8, maybe an 8. Soundest fella. He's
funny.
Yeah,
he was funny, like unintentionally funny.
I think he had some good like when he was talking about going to speaking at a BLM rally or BLM meeting, and he was like, even the fucking cricket shut up.
Yeah,
and it's like he's cool. Yeah, he's maybe not a
but
for a pint. He's probably like
I feel
a 4
like he's definitely not doing the same shit. But I still think this thing's bubbling with Chris Buckley.
Yeah, I don't want to get kicked out the boozer. Then after Chris, it was
Alex.
Narcos fellas?
No,
The one after
Alex
that?
first. So Alex was the Scientologist. Alex was lovely, but maybe not a pint. Also, there's a risk if you go for a pint with Alex that people are going to turn up and start spitting in your drinks because they're from the Church of Scientology. So
Alex is very stern, very intelligent man. And I don't think either of them lend themselves to being good pints.
I think Alex, I don't think Alex is a sinking pints in the booze. He might be, but he seems like more of a whiskey and a like
sit at home,
a dressing gown kind of fella.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just because he's Southern, and I'm like.
And then after that was.
Then it was the Narcos fellas. That is a 10.
Mate.
That is that, and Steve doesn't even drink.
Going out with the men who chased and killed Pablo Escobar.
That's the both of them as well.
And where are they both American, but they've both got Mexican roots?
Both American. I mean, Javier's got Mexican roots. Steve Murphy is.
My man loves
Steve Murphy's a ginger man.
My man, definitely a 10. And then
Joe. No, then it was Neil. Neil is a 9, maybe. Neil is an 8. Stories wise.
Yeah, but I feel like he's kind of knocked a lot on the head now.
Yeah, but he still has the stories.
But
We could have got another hour, 2 hours of stories out of him.
I put Neil above Greg.
I think Neil and Greg are maybe Greg's. I'd want to pull birds with Greg.
Oh, he could as well.
Yeah,
I knew Tupac, kind of.
Yeah, like whereas Neil, I think, has more stories. And then
what are we giving Joe? What would you give Joe?
As a pint, I think he'd be a nightmare. I think it'd be fun if you weren't with him and you were watching someone else or having a pint with him.
Him being in the pub and you're not with him.
Yeah.
Is good.
But if I feel like he'd be a bit of a liability.
Yeah.
He'd be a bit of a liability, and if he's your mate, you're like, Joe, what's he like?
Brought a fucking chimpanzee to the pub.
I know he's broken with his tigers. And his,
I think Joe's down at 4 or 5.
So are we saying that the Narcos fellas
are the boozers.
Far and away the best pint,
and
which is mad because Steve doesn't drink as well.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to.
Yeah,
he's so sick.
Yeah,
but yeah. Joe's low. Joe would be like starting to like, hey,
Joe's for me is just above Mark Sargent for that kind of vibe of like you'd want him in the boozer, but you wouldn't want to be alone with him in the boozer.
Yeah. Right, another question. This is from Matty. He says, after any of the episode, was there a question you regret not asking?
Probably in every episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, there was one. I wish we delved a bit more into Flat Earth with Mark, but I
feel like he's not left it behind, but I feel like he knows people know him for that and kind of ridicule him for it. So he's trying to get round it by going, hey, I believe in everything.
It was a conspiracy chat. We didn't delve into... I'm not sure if we didn't delve into Flat Earth really until...
He's the world's most infamous Flat Earther, and we spoke about Flat Earth for 5 minutes.
Like 30 minutes in. Yeah. So, there's maybe... Again, we maybe could have gone... There's a lot of give and take, so there's a lot of harsh family questions that we could have drilled into.
Oh, we could have done stuff with Shirley where you're like, why didn't you ask that?
There was stuff about Shirley's family members or whatever, like her children.
We had to play the game a little bit with Shirley.
If you ask, then you don't get the kind of stuff with Shirley where you can see a human side. And also there was stuff that we talked about beforehand when we were kind of prepping the research and stuff where we were like, we can't, as much as she's got bad views or whatever, I'm not about to make a 70 your woman cry on it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
if we were different people, we could have had a much different interview with Shirley, but it wouldn't have been as watchable. It would have been us not bullying her because you can hold it on, but like,
and that's also not us.
That's all we wanted to do. Like Shirley's, if you've watched the Louis Theroux stuff, it's Noah, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
So Noah, who's Shirley's son, who's the curly-haired lad in the documentaries, took his own life.
Yeah, so that was after he'd left the church.
After he left the church, so like obviously there's people who've left and not been able to get over what he did. So a big question could have been about that, but then it just feels a bit dirty and a bit unneeded. So,
yeah, it wasn't. It's not worth. Again, I've not got that in me. I don't think to be. And
also, we've got Shirley as not as a friend, but we've got Shirley as a contact now who we can now go.
Yeah.
Hey, last time when we were cool, we're still going to be the same, and then we could maybe delve a little bit further.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if we just go, you're a bitch, then we just why burn it for what reason?
Or if we asked,
we ask questions that upset her. She's like, no, you've upset me. I don't like
because you could tell that pain was in her as well. When we did, because we did press her on the hard questions about her children and stuff like that, and you could tell that she feels that sadness.
Yeah,
she expected those questions, but if you start delving really into that trauma, then
and also she puts the shield of
we just listen to Corinthians
biblical shit. Then we tried to get around that by just asking the questions. We have to play the game with Shirley more than anybody, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more question. This is from Smokeface Griller.
Yes.
And he said, "What has been the most difficult thing about the podcast?"
Ooh, that's a good.
It's probably more for you to ask because you do everything.
The edit. The lowest point of the whole thing was when we lost.
So should we contextualize that a little bit?
Yeah. So we lost Javier's webcam footage. It was like a Zoom issue where we'd.
So obviously Javier and Steve are in two different places. Me and Harry are in one place. We need to record all three cameras. So we had Harry set up recording Javier.
No, mine set up recording Steve.
And mine set up recording Javier. But halfway through recording, my laptop updated or Steve or...
So at Zoom, because Steve was also recording their end, and my footage was the only stuff that came through at the end.
We lost our camera.
Zoom had lost it. So trying to... that's something that I dreaded that edit for ages. I left it to the last minute, and I'm so proud of how it turned out because it ended up being like a kind of Ken Burnsy documentary.
You made it work
with the amount of like exclusive stuff that like images and stuff that we got off Javi and Steve. But yeah, a lot of the edits. I mean, the Joe Exotic edit was horrific. Like that was.
Yeah, you working with a prison.
So I edited that when you were in India. Every time his mic would cut out.
Every 10 seconds?
Every time that happened, I tried to like stitch it together. There's points where you can see it in two words sound like they've almost been Frankensteined. That's because I've had to like make it legible.
So every 10 seconds, the phone would skip for half a second?
Yeah, and I think it's because it's coming through.
Because it's coming...
It's probably being...
Which was so frustrating. And you did so well doing
it. I did something I'm massively proud of, but the edit was difficult. And also the fact that it would have been nice maybe to edit them all and then start releasing them. I made the mistake of edited a good few of them and then having to go back and re-edit them because there was like certain issues in.
And shout out to Johnny, who helped us a lot. Johnny's a listener. He went through and watched loads of the episodes for us. I said, can you kind of proof watch them? Can you find any errors and like things that we can edit? And he found loads and he helped us massively. Yeah. So I mean, massive thank you to Johnny.
And if he hadn't have watched that, then there would have been episodes that gone out with
issues,
weird little corrupted things that weren't even in the edit. But and in terms of kind of, we had guests. So we had a North Korean fella pull out. He ended up asking for a ridiculous amount of money, and then another North Korean fella who agreed, and then was like, "Listen, I'll do it in March," and it's now March.
Yeah, we've had a couple of pullouts. We've never paid anybody.
No,
have a word. Never paid the guest ever, no matter how big or small they are. We did give money to Joe Exotic
to cover his kind of phone bill.
He's like, I want the phone bill covering legal fees, and we were like, yeah, and it was like £75.
Yeah, there's the.
It's just a fucking.
Yeah, we've covered travel expenses.
We've covered travel, if they've gone out their way, but
it's
you'll
like
never pay for the guest.
It's like a prison expense, because there's a certain level of it. Whereas that we also felt that wasn't going to skew how Joe was going to talk, I guess. But yeah, we had one fella who I think we can say as well, because I don't think we're ever going to get him. A former member of Al Qaeda who had agreed to come do it, and he now works with the Home Office, and the Home Office said he couldn't do it.
But now, when he fills in things such as Esther's, one of the questions is, have you spoken to a member of Al Qaeda? And you gonna click yes now?
Because then they just because I've not chatted with him properly.
Yeah,
he's also
you've not gone for a pint with him.
Yeah, he's just like
Good pint though.
Yeah, I've sent him like a message. But like, yeah, so we had a couple. I mean, that's another, like, people kind of asked that if people had said no. That loads of people said no.
Yeah, of course he did.
Loads of people just didn't reply. That was I mean, I must have contacted, sent about 80 messages, 80 emails out to people. You throw a big net and then you end up getting the cream of the crop a little bit.
Also, going forward, people are like, can you get Chris Benoit's hairdresser, or can you get Osama bin Laden's? We only ever want the person. I never want he was the friend. I want the person. Do you know what I mean?
Unless they're close enough to.
Unless they've got their own story as well.
Yeah, even if it's related. Yeah, if that story is related to.
They have to have their own story. It can't be we got, I don't know, a 9/11 survivor's mate, or it has to be the person, which kind of narrows it down as well, but it also makes it more interesting.
But that's also why we're doing seasons, because if you.
Yeah, we can't release it until it's good.
Yeah, you don't want to dilute the quality too much.
If we keep on releasing them consistently, we're going to get to the point where it's like
everyone else a guest.
Yeah, like my nan comes on.
Mad that.
See, no, because I want you. I don't want your nan.
No, but I'm going to be here, and my nan has her own story.
Oh, right, okay. The prostitute one?
No. She once got kicked off a golf course for wearing a skirt, and ends up in the paper.
Season 2 coming soon.
So wait for it.
Thank you for letting me do this.
Thank you so much.
On a genuine note, I'm very proud of you both.
Thank you.
It's been amazing to see the success of it. Set out the stall for season 2. I know we've talked about it, or not even just season 2. The future of Mad That. What are the goals? What's the ambition? Where's it going?
Before we end, we are filling the gaps between the seasons with our new breakout branch of Mad That called
Mad World.
Mad World.
We'll
Finn,
still be on
what Mad World is.
What's Mad World, guys?
Thanks for asking, Finn.
It's still going to be on the Mad That channel.
Yeah, still going to be us.
Still be on the same. Also, another question people ask is Mad That. Can we get audio versions of Mad That? It's all on Spotify and iTunes.
Everything's
Google
there.
it.
Just search.
But yeah, so it's going to be us delving into certain mad topics,
events, maybe even people.
Yes, stuff that we realistically maybe couldn't, like the guests don't exist for us to get them as well, so we get to cover those. I mean, it'll be me and you. We might end up getting a couple,
maybe
guests,
a guest every now and again.
Every now and then.
If I can liken it to something, go and have a look at The Casual Criminalist or Decoding the Unknown, which is hosted by Simon Whistler, who I love. He basically goes, here's a subject and here is everything about it. Here's my opinion. I'm going to talk you through it.
A deep dive into
the subject. So, for example, I would love to start with North Korea, as I have a huge interest in it.
I'd want to do the Waco siege as one of the early ones.
Yeah. So, do you know what I'm going to label this as? The perfect fall asleep podcast.
Oh, this is the kind of stuff that if you get involved in Mad World and you listen to it, you're gonna then have it's like icebreaker stuff almost. Like you get to have a knowledge about mad stuff, and we want to really delve into properly interesting stuff.
Because I fall asleep to stuff like 2-hour podcasts and people talking about that. So I want to make one too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think
so. Mad World's coming soon.
So we're gonna have
a little break.
Yeah, give us a month or so. I need a month to not look at editing of static stuff, because otherwise my epilepsy is gonna go mad. And then we'll dive into Mad World, and then whilst Mad World is being released, then we'll get prepping on season 2, and then when season 2 is ready to go out, you'll find out all those details, I guess, on Mad World.
Comment below any subjects, topics, events, people
Absolutely.
you want us to cover, and we'll have a look.
And people you want us to get in touch with for the next season of Mad That as well.
Also, as you can see, we're all wearing lovely bits of Mad That merch, which is live right now on haveawaypod.com. Click on merch. you'll see our stuff. There's hoodies, t-shirts, jumpers in varying different colours and designs. Yeah. Each episode pretty much has its own design. So Harry is wearing the
Tiger King.
Finn's wearing the generic Mad Dat, and I'm wearing the generic TV. But there's loads of designs.
Loads of different colours.
It's good quality shirts. It's the same quality as Have a Word. It comes from the same supplier. It's dead cool, isn't it?
Yeah, we went a bit alternative with it as well. Yeah. Like you can't get just plain white. Like it's all a bit off-whitey and stuff like that. So it's trendy. I would wear it.
We do wear it.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Me too.
Thank you so much.
Also, as I said before, if you want a sponsor or a brand or you want to get involved with Mad Dat, totally separate to Have a Word. It's not involved with Have a Word. It's Mad Dat. You've sponsored Mad Dat. Please get in touch, because if people can help us financially, we can grow this to, even bigger than what it is now.
maddatpod@gmail.com.
Maddatpod@gmail.com. And because you want to see me talking to some mad fucking freak in America, don't you? I'll have fun.
And we've already shown that we can go mainstream.
Exactly. The Lab Bible and all them people, they fucking love us, mate.
Well, yeah, cheers, and we'll see you for Mad World. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, baby.
Maybe you can come on and talk about some mad
Wales.
Episode 1.
Deep dive into Wales.
Thank you so much, Finn.
Thank you, Finn.
Cheers.
Bye-bye, everybody. Do you want to do a high five? One last one for the series. Bye.